Welcome to Flip Lesson 36 for the 6th grade. Today we're going to look at subtracting fractions and mixed numbers and understanding how they work together. And to do that, we're going to use a pictorial example to start to help us really see how this works. All right. So our example says the 6th graders made 4 plates of sushi for the Christmas party. During the party, the 8th graders came and took 2 1/8 of the sushi. How much sushi is still left for the 6th graders? All right. And so we start by looking at a picture of what's going on here. Right. We have 4 plates of sushi. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And we can understand that idea very clearly. Now, as we work with this, our problem is actually 4. Right? The actual problem we're looking at is 4 minus, we want to subtract 2 1/8. All right? 2 1/8. And so that's the problem we're looking at right here. And so to help us do this, to be able to subtract fractions, if we were to have this lined up, technically there's nothing right here. It's kind of like having a 0 there, a 0/8. And because of that, we need to borrow from the 4 to help us subtract that 1/8. And so what we did here was we borrowed from the 4, so that becomes 3, and you still see the 3 whole pizzas there. And then I took the last pizza and divided it into 8 sections because we're subtracting 8s, so I have 8 sections. And by looking at it, you can see I still have 4. Even though I haven't done any subtraction yet, even though I added this 8/8, I still have a total of 4, and that picture represents that. Okay. Now it says we're going to take away 2 whole pizzas. Sorry, not pizzas, plates of sushi. So we take 2 whole plates of sushi away. And it says we're also taking away 1/8 of sushi. And so we have that 1/8. All right. And so now we can start to see how these things play out, and how by taking away those 2 and taking away that 1/8, I'm left with an answer of 1 whole plate of sushi and 7/8 of that last plate of sushi. All right. And by looking over here at the problem, that's 8/8 minus 1/8, which is going to give us 7/8, just like the picture shows us, and 3 minus 2 gives us a 1. And so we have that visual representation of how we solve this problem. All right. Let's try another example. This time we're not going to draw a picture, we're going to go right into it. It says 6 minus 2 3/5. All right. First step I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the problem so everything lines up. My whole numbers line up, and my fractions will line up then also. All right. By setting this up, I see that once again I have nothing right here to be able to subtract that 3/5, and so I need to borrow. So I'm going to borrow from the 6. 6 is going to be 5, and I'm going to borrow a whole 1. And because our denominator is 5 here, to subtract fractions, we need to have a similar denominator. And so I'm going to make this 5/5. So my new number is 5 and 5/5 minus 2 3/5. So 5/5 minus 3/5 is going to get 2/5. And then 5 minus 2 is going to get an answer of 3 2/5. And so we have a second example to help us see how to solve this type of problem. And so by looking at our example in the picture and looking at another idea here, we can see how to go about this process. Right? I'm going to leave you with this sample problem, and you can solve this sample problem for class. That is lesson 36, thinking about how to subtract whole numbers and mixed numbers, and that process of borrowing 1 and making an equivalent fraction so that we can subtract. That's lesson 36.